All right, folks. So I did this video 3 weeks ago, and in this video, all right, let's just take a look. All right, obviously I'm gonna keep the sound off so you can hear me, but we talked about all the different lithium-ion platforms that are out today. We talked a lot about ego and why the sales. You got to remember, ego was the top dog, guys, for several years. All right, and this is actually news, not a company that hasn't been at Home Depot for 4 years getting rid of some bits and putting a nice thumbnail up. This is actually major news. But getting back to the point, this is something that we've seen coming down the pike, so to speak. Again, ego, make great stuff, guys. I know a lot of you guys love the ego stuff. It was probably the first platform that you've owned. They were always good to you, right? They were the first, lithium ion OPE, brand that really had power. They really backed it up, really had gas-like performance. All right. And another thing, you have to look at the way these companies are aligned with stuff, right? You really look at Ego's parent owner, Shervan, right? Really a Lowe's brand, right? They own Cobalt. They make all the Cobalt stuff. There's some Greenworks stuff in there as well. Now we're seeing Skill power tools just today. You saw it in the Lowe's live video. Now being put on the shelves, not only online, but on the shelves. So it was really just a matter of time before something like this has happened. And I did double check with my Depot source, and it's pretty much 100%. All right. So Ego is going to be moving over to, I would say it's probably going to be Lowe's. I don't think it's going to be an Amazon, retailer. No, I don't think Amazon's an authorized retailer of Ego stuff. But as you've seen over the past couple of years, I believe Acme Tools sells Ego stuff. And maybe even CPO, but there's a few online retailers that, remember, when Ego first came out, could only be found at the Home Depot, was really exclusive to the Depot. Then, of course, the big boy, TTI, comes in there, right? And Ryobi really started expanding their 40-volt platform. And in around 2 years, they ended up taking the top spot from Ego as the number one selling OPE brand at the Depot. And really not just Ryobi hit the sales of Ego power tools. Again, what I tried to stress in this video, guys, was just the compatibility, the battery friendliness of some of these power tool OPE tools that have entered the market over the past 2, 3, 4 years, as Ego has been in Home Depot and in the OPE. All right, so like I was saying, not only did Ryobi and their 40-volt OPE platform really start to hit sales, but you had these, normal tool companies start to get into the OPE line. And as I stressed in that video, would you rather have a 5-pound battery or a 2-pound battery? All right. Would you rather have a battery that will do all your OPE tasks and then are able to fix your car, build a shed, fix a clog in your toilet, right? All different types of trade-like applications, right, with these power tool platforms. So you kind of put everything together. It was going to start to affect sales, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think it is as much. Now we know Ryobi's 40-volt platform is the number one seller at Home Depot now, and it has been for the past 2 years. I think that is more to the effect of people, new people, wanting to spend less money, so going over to Ryobi because they usually are 25 to 30% cheaper than the Ego stuff. Similar specs, probably would say not as good of a build quality, but again, in-house, all TTI stuff, right? Ryobi, Rigid, Milwaukee, all right? Empire, Hart was over there. So they really were pushing that. And then again, you had the DeWalt's, the Milwaukee's, the Makitas of the world, Ryobi's 24-volt stuff. Really, or 20-volt stuff, 18-volt stuff, hit the OPE genre. All right, so that really started to hit Ego pretty hard. And guys, this is probably a little bit of both. From what I heard, it's not really Home Depot's decision or Home Depot getting rid of Ego. It's really a happy split, right? There's no Chevron stuff being sold. You know, things have changed a lot with the company Chevron. They were a little itty-bitty company when Ego first started. Now they own, you know, Cobalt, Skill. You know, they're making hand tools there for a while. I think they were making the actual, I don't know if they were making, I don't know if they were making Husky hand tools for a little bit, but they're a much larger company today. And again, for Chevron to be selling their products really at two different places, not really a big deal. But when your major moneymaker is really not getting the full support at the depot like it once was, and honestly, you can't blame Home Depot for that. So I think they're going over to Lowe's. Nothing has been announced, okay? But I think, and another part of making this video, guys, is really this September, we're going to have a lot of fun over at the depot because I'm sure they're going to be kind of liquidating a lot of this stuff, all right? We kind of really haven't seen it yet. I think we're going to start seeing some special buys of the day that really focus on Ego OPE tools. And I think, you know, I don't know when this contract ends. It might not even be until the end of 2020. So we might not start seeing those deals until December. Or it might not end until like March 2021. All right. From what the information I got, he had no idea when the relationship will be ending, but he said it will be ending. All right. But again, a lot of this is from me, common sense. All right. It just makes sense, right? Lowe's, Chevron, right? You got Cobalt, you got Skill, you got the Greenwork stuff. Okay. It really makes the perfect, and if you look at it, they're really hurting. And you think about it too, right? Really think hard. And it's something had to happen with that Craftsman V60 platform, because that not only was a very popular line, and it was only out for a year. Now, when I say popular, I don't want to say, you know, it was super popular because of the quality of the actual OPE platform. But everybody who has that lawnmower loves it. I know so many people that bought that mower at full price as well. I know people that bought it at full price and they loved it so much, right, that they bought another one for pretty much 50% off just to have it. All right. So the blower was fine. The chainsaw, which I have here, and maybe I'll get to a video on it, even though I don't even know. I think just Menards might sell it now. But you had to, they just brought craftsmen over here. They invested a lot. And it was a very well-made line, right? I mean, again, this was expensive stuff, guys. This was to compete with Ego. All right? 56 volt, the Ego. The Craftsman, 60 volt. You had a 7.5, just like Ego. You had a 5, just like Ego. Then you had a 2.5, just like Ego. You had a self-propelled mower. You had a push mower. You had a chainsaw. You had a blower. You had a string trimmer. You had a hedge trimmer. You had a complete line in one shot. And within 3 months, they decided to scrap it. We started seeing this stuff going on pretty much 50% off within, July, late July, early August of 2019. So I think this has been in the works for a while. I think that's why they probably gave up. And if you look at Lowe's right now, guys, they are going after the jugular. That CEO is, there's one thing you have to look at. This guy who became CEO, I forget what, Marvin something, he's been buying Lowe's stock like it's going out of style. And if you listen to any of his reports, he is determined to make Lowe's the number one home improvement retailer in the world and pass Home Depot up. All right. And he knows really the only way to do it is to get the brands over there. Now, I think there's a lot more to it than that, because the logistics and the way that store is set up is definitely not Home Depot. But they're bringing over some major players. This is going to be huge for them, but I think Chevron or Ego wants to really showcase these Ego tools and be the main OPE line for a retailer. They know they're not going to get it at Home Depot. They kind of got rid of everything at Lowe's. I mean, you think about it, it's really just Cobalt. I mean, these guys got a 0-turn mower coming out, guys, next year, where you can, you always heard me talk about it with Milwaukee. Oh, I hope Milwaukee one day comes out with an 18-volt 0-turn. Oh, what do you mean? Oh, I don't know. Maybe 10 or 12 high-output Milwaukee batteries. You just clap in, just like you're putting it on a charger. And we joked about it. This was probably for the past 4 years. If you guys have been watching me, I've been joking about it. But I guess Ego has been watching. And they're doing it with their big battery. So they don't need 12. They need 6. But so they really want to showcase their OPE. Again, this is still their main money maker. This is what, generates, 70% of the sales, I'm sure, at Chevron. And it only makes sense at Lowe's. They already got the Cobalt stuff. It's their main, home power tool brand. Skill has recently gotten in there. There's some Greenworks OPE stuff, but they don't really have, a true OPE line, right? They do have, Cobalt, their own. But I think you might see Cobalt, and that's maybe another reason why we're seeing some deals on the Cobalt. Now, I don't think they would ever get rid of Cobalt OPE line, because, people in the 24-volt platform, they still want their OPE tools. They don't want these heavy tools here. And I don't know how good this is going to go. I don't think this is going to be like a game changer for Lowe's in any way, because you still got, the main problem is you still got Milwaukee out there, Makita out there, DeWalt out there, Ryobi 18 volt, and maybe even Cobalt 24 volt. making the same stuff with these smaller batteries that are just everywhere. They're cheap now. They make the tool, 20, 25, 30% lighter. And the way technology is going, uh, things are going to get smaller. They're not going to get bigger. Technology, what technology is really what it's about, is making life easier. So at some point, we're not going to need these bricks to power, a weed whacker for a extended period of time, or a blower. Right now, yeah, but at some point, ego's going to have to, I don't know, we're going to have to see. That might be part of it too. Maybe 3 years down the road, ego says, you know what? All right, we're still going to offer the 56 volt stuff, right? But maybe we should come out with a 36 volt or a 40 volt, right? And come out maybe with, I don't know. I don't know anyone who would, I was going to say come out with more of a DIY, but this is all DIY. And because I know no one who uses these battery powered stuff commercially would ever use any of this ego stuff. It's just way too heavy. The batteries are too hard to transport around. You can't, they're literally like carrying bricks. So, but anyway, to make a long story short, I can yap about this forever. So we're going to have to wait and see. Hopefully we'll find some good deals. And I'm sure Home Depot at some point will announce this. Now, they have announced it. People know about it, obviously. But I think it'll be more some type of statement. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it comes out and maybe their, third quarter earnings report that, I doubt it. Because, a big seller at one point. But, like I said, I wouldn't even be surprised if they're not number 2 at Home Depot anymore. And everybody's making this stuff now, guys. You always hear me say the margins in OPE tools must be incredible, because everybody, there's got to be 100 different companies that make lawnmowers, trimmers, blowers now, right? And just 5 years ago, you had Ego. That's it. There was no other Ego. You had Ego 5-6 years ago. That was it. You might have had a little sweeper from Ryobi, right? Or that little, wood shop blower from, DeWalt or Makita or Milwaukee. But, so a lot has changed. And I think over time, in the back of your head, everybody was kind of expecting this, right? So Ego will be leaving the depot probably. Again, the rest of it is just my assumption. The person I talked to didn't know where they were going. I didn't even ask where they might be going. It just makes sense, right? Just common sense. I don't think Amazon would work really well. I think they want to be in a store. They're not going to sell their stuff at Walmart. Menards is not big enough. I don't think Tractor Supply would work out. Wait. Well, we already have contracts with your company. Oh, yeah? Who? Oh, Cobalt, Skill. We got some Greenwork stuff. All right, bring it on over. So don't be surprised if Ego is at Lowe's within the next 12 to 24 months. Again, I don't know if this is happening tomorrow. I would think that we will see the sales start by at least December of this year. I think that's when we might see them start. They might happen earlier than that. But I think in the next 12, 18 months, we'll see the Ego stuff be bye-bye from Depot. We'll catch you.